क्या गर्मी है यार. Okay, so fine. We'll start discussion about the topic called The Frog and the Nightingale. So let me point out, we are talking about the topic The Frog and the Nightingale. So what this poem is all about. The Frog and the Nightingale, which is written by Vikram Seth, it's a poem that indicates the protagonist. So the protagonist means the main character, right? So, and how that main character, who was nothing but a very, innocence in nature, and have some good qualities. But despite having the good qualities, she got influenced, right? She got influenced. You can say that vehemently influenced. Vehemently means called as excessively influenced, right? And if you are talking about the poet Vikram Seth, uh, who is an Indian novelist and a poet also. He has published many of the books, and you could say that six book of poetry, or six books of poetry, uh, and three novels. Six books of poetry and three novels. Yes, sir. Yeah. So you would find out many of his writing. And this particular topic, the frog and the nightingale, is something called as very special. Even I could say that the poem, The Frog and the Nightingale, it gives a kind of a gist here that um, that there was a frog who was living in the Bengal bog. Uh, do you understand the meaning of Bengal bog? Bengal bog is an area which is very wet and muddy. Means like a swampy area. Very good. Yeah. So you can talk about the frog was living in the Bengal bog or a muddy water area under a sumac tree. So and how that frog sang in a its unpleasant voice. All the creatures in the bog who hated the frog for its harsh sound or called as a rough sound, and these animals tried using different ways to stop the frogs not to sing. Like you would find out, they request the frog. They means even use the sticks, stones, and even insult and complaints. But the frog could not means could not be stopped. And you would find out that why it was not stopped, because it was proud of its voice and sang with full of confidence. So, which is indicating indication of what? When you talk about that, you are proud of your own voice and sang with confidence. It seems like you are overconfident. So, uh, beside that, also you would find out that how the nightingale who once one night when the sky was the poet beautifully decorated the setting. The poet said that how one night when the sky was lit and also stated about with the full of moonlight. So at that time, uh, a nightingale or a melodious nightingale, so who started singing, right? Isn't it? So, a
Yes.
melodious nightingale who sat on the sumac tree and sang beautifully. All the creatures were, you can talk about, attracted towards what? Attracted towards the melodious voice. The frog was, you can say, surprised as it had never heard such a beautiful voice. All the creatures even started praising the nightingale, melodious nightingale, praised and cheered for the bird and asked it to sing more, right? So the nightingale had also never received such a praise. And so he got, you can say she got flattered. I use the term she because it would be referred to personified. She got flattered, or she got, influenced, even you can say, and she sang continuously throughout that night. The next night, as the bird prepared to sing, the frog, sorry, yeah, so you can say the bird prepared to sing. The frog, who was jealous of it, interrupted the bird, and there the frog introduced it himself or itself as the owner of the tree on which the bird was sitting. And it said that it was famous for a, you can say that, a deep manly voice, and also wrote occasionally for the Bach Trumpet magazine, right? So Trumpet magazine. The frog told the nightingale that her song was not bad, but the problem in her song is what? Now pointed out that it was too long, and it lacked such kind of a force. The innocent bird felt great, um, that such a great musician, right, has evaluated her singing, because she considered that the frog was a great singer, right, and talented. So the frog scolded her for being proud that her song was her own original composition. So the frog that was named as he said that she had to get formal training to become a perfect singer. Now, here you would find out the poet has used the personification, right? The innocent nightingale was trapped by the, you can say that, um, a kind of artful, or called as a backdoor frog, or calculative or cunning frog. That's something called as a, clever frog also. It requested the frog to train her, and praised it by saying that it was a great musician Mozart, right? The frog agreed, without, you can say that at the beginning, that the frog hesitated, but hesitated means, feel that not to teach her. But as he found out, so what did he find? He find out the benefit, right? And what did he do? Now he charged for that. He charged a fee. The frog forced the little delicate and melodious bird to sing in bad weather for long hours, which made her weak. Her voice lost its melody, right, for that region. So after some rest, also you would find out that how it attracted a royal crowd of birds and also animals, and it again started singing. Um, and as a huge crowd would gather to hear the melodious voice, the greedy frog started charging admission free. So, like, these are the things are indicating as a fictitious, and as it is indicating the fictitious, so you would find out it is a kind of a story, narrative form. So, but that story is written in the form of ballad. So, therefore, it is, or in the form of poem. So, therefore, it is known as a ballad, right? So, the poet also stated that how the greedy frog started charging admission fee for the concert, that he made it, that he, you can say that, started taking the melodious voice, bird nightingale. It attracted a royal crowd of birds and animals from, you can say that, distant places, who attended the concert in their fine dresses. So the frog was happy that he was earning. He was earning so much money. But at the same time, means the frog was jealous, jealous of the what? Nightingale's popularity, right? So as the frog became greedy for more money, so and means what did he do? Now, the frog would scold also the poor bird, force it to practice more, and pointed out mistakes in its singing technique, the way the bird was singing very exceptionally well, but still the frog had a different idea. And all this took nothing but a toll on the little bird. So the little bird felt very unhappy, and also felt a kind of a mistake in herself. So, and it became sad, or she became sad and weak, and her song lost its melody and became dull for the others. The crowd started decreasing, which actually created, you can say that, anger to the frog. So one day, as the bird tried to draw a deep breath to sing loud and strong, at the same time, what happened? Her vein got burst, and she died on the spot. Right now, at that time, the frog means made a kind of a sarcasm or criticism comment that the Nightingale was just stupid, and her or his statement was also justified because the Nightingale was stupid, nervous, and prone to be influenced by others. So that is the reason. He says that it should have had, or she should have had confidence rather than being influenced by what the other said, right? So the frog says that she should have believed on herself. And so now what happened once again means the frog is the unopposed singer in the bog, and that shows that he has no competition up at all, isn't it? Now this is something called as a beautiful poem with full of narration, and you would find out the moral present into it. So everything is indicated. So you could say that the title of the poem is justified, The Frog and the Nightingale, right or not? So if I talk about, do you consider that the frog and the Nightingale title is justified or not?
Yes, sir.
So yes, so that is what, if the question comes like, how do you justify the title of the poem, The Nightingale and the Frog? So you could have mentioned that, or you could mention that it is justified because it, you know, it highlights the main characters and their roles in the story. So you would find out that the frog and the nightingale are the main focus of the narrative, with the frog representing what? The frog representation of the characteristic called as arrogation, right? Oh, sorry, arrogance. Like you can say that somebody who is a stubborn, arrogant, manipulative nature. Manipulative nature means who always try to take the advantage from the others, and also have the nature of exploitation. So while the nightingale symbolizes nothing but the innocence, talented, and you can say that a trap in the tragedy, right? So you would find out that throughout the poem, the interaction that found between these two characters, that actually flows the plot forward or story forward. And we also find out that how the frog's jealousy and desire for control lead to the nightingale's downfall, ultimately resulting her what? Resulting her death, right? Therefore, the title effectively captures the quality of the conflict and relationship between the two characters, making it, fitting and appropriate. So that is why we can consider that the title, The Frog and the Nightingale, is justified here, isn't it? If you see that, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next one, you would find out whether the tone. Can you tell me that what is the tone of the poem? Tone, or you can say that style of the writing. I think style of the writing, can you tell that tone of the poet and the poem? What is the tone of the poet and the poem?
Sir, the tone of the poets.
Hmm.
The tone of the poet is narrative.
The style is narrative, right? Style means style of writing. Style of writing is called as a narrative.
Yes.
Style, tone is not your narrative. So style is narrative. Tone means what? What kind of a tone do you find out from the poem? Whether it's a positive, negative, or neutral. Okay, so let me point out the tone of the poem that you draw here, as well as the tone of the poet that introduces through the poem, can be described as satirical and critical. So therefore, it is known as a negative tone. So Vikram Seth, who uses satire. Satire means what? To criticize, right? To criticize whom? Now, by taking this story, the poet tries to criticize the human behavior, The poet tries to criticize the societal norms. Societal norms means the rules, the regulation that society creates. Uh, and how does it create? Now, through the allegorical tell. Allegorical means that called as a symbolism. So, allegorical story of the frog and the nightingale. So, the poet's tone is, you can say that often ironic, right? Now you understood that it is the tone that you draw from the poem. But when I talk about that tone of the poet, so I could find out that it is sometime ironic. Ironic means what? That's something called as a two different types of, tone can be drawn positive and negative, right? So one side you would find out uh, it's a, praising. One side you would find out that mm, the society that's filled with the good people, but these good people who are taking the advantage, right? Advantage um, to the other good people, right? Who are unaware of, right? That they are in a trap. So even you could also say that the poet's tone is a mocking, criticizing, particularly towards the frog's arrogance and exploitation of Nightingale's talent. And therefore, you could say that such employs humor to, highlight the absurdity of the frogs. So you would find out that
Highlight.
absurdity of the frog's behavior. Absurdity means what? That's something called as a ridiculous behavior of the frog, right? How does the frog behave to the nightingale? And the behavior of the frog is nothing but a kind of a means humor. Humor means that's something called as a kind of a mm, joke or fun, right? But at the same time, this joke and fun can be taken as the sarcasm, criticism, right? And you also about not about that absurdity of the frog's behavior, the poet also stated about the gullibility of the nightingale. So when you talk about gullibility, it's called as innocence, how innocent someone can be, right? At the same time, there is a sense of tragedy in the poem. So what is that sense of tragedy? That's something called as the nightingale's innocence and amateur or called as a naive, or you can talk about newness or fresher. So that ultimately lead to her downfall. So one side you are talking about innocence, the other side you are also saying that means she considers that the frog was the master and she was the new, she was the means fresher, and that is what innocence and fresh means inexperience. Innocence and inexperience ultimately lead to her downfall, right? So the poet's tone shift towards what? A more, you can say that sombre or somber and reflective mood towards the end. So somber is called as a calm and a kind of a empathetic towards the nightingale. At the same time, reflective towards the end, emphasizing or describing the consequences and consequences of what? Consequences of greed, right? The frog was very much greedy, and that's the reason. So, how do you draw that the frog was very much greedy? Now, because the frog was trying to draw means more money by utilizing the nightingale, and that shows her his greediness and also manipulation. Overall, if you talk about that, the tone of the poet and the poem combines, you can say, satire, fun, and sadness to express a powerful message about the what? About the dangers of exploitation and the importance of staying true to oneself. Staying true to oneself means you must be confident what you have. Am I clear with this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So understood the whole concept of it. So what are the things that I discuss actually? What are the things?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Yes, sir. Please say that. I want to summarize that. Means like you gave me the information. Now the information is traveling all around my mind. I need to like put it in a box, like in a particular frame. So please summarize it.
So I started with what? I started with the summary, right?
Yes, sir.
Then I discuss about the poet, Vikram
Poet,
Seth,
and after tone of the poem.
tone of the poem and tone of the poet, not tone of the
Poet.
poem only, tone of the poem, tone of the poet, right? Then I talk about the justification of the title.
Yes.
Then after I discuss about what?
But that's all you have discussed.
The justification of the title, and then after I discuss about yeah, that is what those of the things I discussed, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
So please, and when I discuss all these things, I also pointed about what means what are the qualities means that the frog and the nightingale both have, isn't it? The frog have what kind of a quality? What kind of a quality the frog have? Arrogance, manipulative,
Frog, frog is
arrogance,
arrogant,
manipulative,
manipulative,
greedy, whereas the
greedy,
nightingale have a innocence, talented, and exploited, inexperienced, right? And we also discuss about the moral of the means you can say that moral of the point where we talk about that how means you would find out that the dangers of exploitation and the importance of staying true to oneself, isn't it? Okay. So
yes,
now let's go to the poem. Line by line, we will go for the discussion of it. So the first line, what is it given? How many stanzas there are? Can you point out? How many stanzas there are? Is my voice audible to you?
Yes, sir. One, two, three,
Tell me
four,
how many
five,
lines are there?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 140.
How many lines are there? 140 lines are there.
Sir, 140. Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So now let me start one after another. So if I talk about that, the poem begins with what? Once upon a time, a frog croaked away in Bengal bog. Every night from dusk to dawn, he croaked on and on and on. Right. Now here you would find out the repetition is given. On and on and on. Should be pronounced as on. Right. So and why does it use here? It uses here for the sake of what? Now it compare with the dawn, D-A-W-N. Do you see that? D-A-W-N is there, done. So you can say that once upon a time,
Yes,
a
sir.
frog and croaked
Yes,
away
sir.
in Bengal bog. Every night from dusk to dawn, he croaked up on and on and on. So here you would find out the word Bengal bog is referring to a kind of a place which is a muddy water, right? So the poet here is narrating a story in the form of a poem. So, and as far as the title of the poem, so the story of a frog and a nightingale. And where do they live? Now, who lived? The frog was living in a marshy land called Bengal. So, and the poet stated that the frog all the time croaked. Croaked here is indicating as a means a kind of a harsh voice, croaking. Right. Croaking is nothing but the sound of the bingle, sound of the frog, you can say. The frog croaked all through the night from morning to night and night to till sunset. And it croaked or it creates the sound non-stop, and to emphasize the continuity of his sound, the poet repeats the kind of a word, you can say that on and on and on. Right. There are two reasons why on and on and on is used. One is called as a, now the poet emphasized that even means a continuation of the harsh sound of the frog. Second one is called as a, the poet tries to make a kind of a rhyming scheme like frog to bog, dawn to on. Isn't it?
Hmm.
Hmm. So, and in this,
Sir, why the poet tried to sir, why did the poem try to change like the dawn to on?
see, that is what I pointed, no, AWN, which will be pronounced as a ON, on. And in the poem, generally, the poet uses this the misspelled word or called as a mispronounced, using with the kind of a letter AWN. So when you say on, which means ON, right? So you can say that on and on and on. When we say on and on and on, so will be indicating as the meaning of continuation. So AWN, which is nothing but presenting a kind of a means uh, proper rhyming with the dawn, DAWN and AWN. Got my point? It is a misspelled word. It is a mispronounced and misspelled word. Got my point?
Yes, now got your point.
So, and here you would find out the rhyming scheme of the poem is AA and BB. So, and the poet has used the kind of what do we say that? The kind of poetic devices called as a rhyming scheme AABB and onomatopoeia. What do you mean by onomatopoeia? Do
Sir,
you
onomatopoeia is a poetic device which is given for sound words like hustling and means like for giving the sounds.
So here you would find out onomatopoeia is used with a croaking sound, croaked, right? So croaked is called as a onomatopoeia.
So, yes, sir.
Okay. So coming to the next one, even you would also find out another is called as a repetition, like I pointed on and on and on, right? You also find out that next, which is called as a repetition, alliteration, repetition of the sound, binglebog, B sound repeated. And also you would find out that it's called as an antithesis. What do you mean by antithesis? Antithesis means something which is going against the theory, right? So therefore, it is known as an antithesis. How would you find out that antithesis? Now, when you say the term called as a dusk done. So dusk is referring evening, done is referring early morning. So therefore, dusk and done both are indicating opposite to each other. So therefore, it is known as an anti-theory, right? Now, coming to the next one, the next, sorry, yeah, understood or have a kind of a doubt?
You said antithesis. Now, what is anti-theory?
Thesis means
No,
what?
sir. Like you said, antithesis. Okay, that's a poetic device. But sir, what is anti-theory? Thesis
Now,
means what?
anti means what?
Sir, uncle's opposite gender. No, anti means of something, sir. It's like
Anti is called as a
antioxidant,
against.
means
Anti
opposing
is
something.
called as a against, and thesis means theory.
Against.
Thesis means theory, right? And when you say
Yes, sir.
that antithesis, what do you
Yes,
mean
sir.
by that? That called as against the theory? When you say dusk and dawn, right? So dusk and dawn both are called as a kind of a theory which is indicating evening and morning, right? So both are opposite to each other, no? Don't they?
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next one is called as the second stanza, where the poet used other creatures loathed his voice, but alas, they had no choice. And the crass cacophony bled out from the at whose foot the frog eats night, minstrelled on till morning night. Isn't it? So when you say other creatures loathed his voice, what do you
Yes,
mean?
sir.
What do you mean by loath? Loath का मतलब होता है means घृणा करना or hated too much. So and if you talk about other
Yes.
other creature loathed his voice means whose voice? The frog voice. But surprise, they had no choice.
Frog's voice.
Surprise, they had no choice. Why they had no choice? Because the frog was pride for each means a voice and sound. And it is the poet who make a kind of a sarcasm and said that it is nothing but the crass cacophony. What do you mean by crass cacophony? That's something called as a harsh or bad sound, right? Cacophony is called as a very loud and unpleasant noise. So the opposite of cacophony is called as a euphony, right? So euphony is a good sound, cacophony is a bad sound or harsh and unpleasant sound. So the poet here said that the voice that the frog produced is nothing but rude and insensitive, as well as a loud and unpleasant voice or noise that make the other creature uh, feel awkward, and that's why they tried a lot, but they could not stop the means frog. So at whose foot the frog each night. So if you see that the line stated, other creature hate his voice, but surprised they had no choice, and the kind of a rude and insensitive, loud and unpleasant noise, so that bled out from the at whose foot the frog each night minstrelled on till morning night. So you would find out that, sorry?
So sumac tree.
Yeah. So means blade out, coming out from the at whose foot the frog is night. So it means under the sumac tree where the Bengal bog is there. So there the frog was living, and how that means a frog produced the kind of a cacophony or uh, means harsh noise that she produced through the nature of song or singing, right? So here you would find out that the poet clearly stated the other creature in the Bengal bog, who like, you can say that rabbits, elephants, monkeys, birds, and other creatures who disliked the harsh and unpleasant sound made by the frog. So they could do nothing about it. Why? Nah, means because the frog was arrogant, and the rude and loud sound the frog made could be heard as it croaked sitting at the foot of a tree called sumac, right? So this tree, you can say that something like a was of sumac, you can say mango, shesham, right? Or bamboo, right? Just like there are various trees. So sumac tree is like that. And what does that frog do? The frog croaked continuously throughout the night. Therefore, then the next stanza pointed here, neither the stones, nor prayers, nor sticks, insults or complaints or bricks, stilled the frog's determination to display his heart's elation. So when you talk about that, all the creatures of the bog, so they tried different ways to stop the frog, right? They like the poet stated that they means they went for the stones, went for the bricks and sticks, and sometime also they insulted it. They complained against the frog before the others, and even means requested before the frog itself to stop making the unpleasant sound. But they were unsuccessful, as the frog was determined and also something like a means stubborn in nature to sing, as it was proud of its unique voice. So the frog believed that his voices means very unique, right? So that is what you would find out. But what happened one night, a nightingale in the moonlight, cold and pale, perched upon the sumac tree, casting forth her melody. Now, if you see that, this one is something called as a change of it, right? The character of the nightingale, if you see, means introduced in the poem here only, right? So, and the poet started by saying that how one night the sky was full of the moon's light, the weather was cold, and everything you can say that seemed dull, right? Or you can say that odd or inactive, you can say. A nightingale bird means came from somewhere and sat on a branch of the sumac tree, right? So, and started singing in its melodious voice. So, that was nothing but a kind of a turning point for the frog. So, dumbstruck sat the gaping frog and the whole admiring bog. They started looking towards the sumac, rapt, and when she had ended, they all started clapping. Ducks had swum and herons waded to her as she serenaded. Now, if you observe that the words like dumbstruck, serenaded, then after you would find out wrapped, all such kind of words are there, right? So when you talk about dumbstruck, what do we find out? Dumbstruck is called as taken aback or surprise, or you can say that you are unable to speak with the astonished or surprising manner. And if you talk about wrapped, so when you say that dumbstruck sat the gaping frog. The frog was what means looking at the nightingale or in a kind of a surprising manner. So the frog unable to speak because the kind of a voice the nightingale have, and the whole admiring bog. So and even the other animals who live in that bog. So they also started towards. They also looked towards the sumac. Sumac means sumac tree. So they were completely, affectionated towards that tree. So you cannot think of anything else. So the kind of a way the all the animals have looked towards the sumac tree. And when she had ended, they all started clapping. They all started clapping. Ducks had sown, and herons waited to her as she serenaded. Serenaded means that something called as a sang such a beautiful way. So all these animals which have been presented here, like ducks had sown, so and herons waited. Herons waited means it is indicating a water bird or watery bird. So they all were impressed by the kind of means song that the nightingale was singing. So and a solitary loon.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, wait. Sir, waded means what?
See,
Herons waded, it is given, right? What do you mean by waded?
now look into it. When you observe this statement or line, what does it say? And when she had ended, claps, dogs, dogs had sown, and herons waded. So who means what do you mean by heron?
Heron is a bird, sir.
So it's a what kind of a bird?
I mean, it's like it is bogbo. I mean, sir, it's a bird which has long legs and usually walks in shallow waters in search of prey or fishes.
So what does it say? Herons waded. So it is a kind of a watery bird, right?
Yes, sir.
So what do you mean by means if it is a watery bird?
They were standing on water.
No, if it is a watery bird, then you can say that they means move through water, or you can say that with some kind of a difficulty, or means something like what they are showing their interest on certain things, right? You can say moving through water that is not too deep, but still required some effort to progress, isn't it? So that is why herons waded. When we talk about herons waded, it indicates that herons that were moving through the water with a kind of a difficulty. To her, as she serenaded. So to her, as she serenaded means it is indicating that herons waded to her. As she serenaded means she sang such a beautiful manner for which herons means find out the difficulty to move, but still it tried to move on the water, isn't it? Got my point? Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can say that ducks and herons, they swam and came near the sumac tree to hear it as the nightingale who sang beautifully, right? So after this, what do you find out? You find out a solitary loon, a solitary loon. So solitary means called as a single, and loon means called as a large water bird. A and a solitary or called as a single large bird that wept beneath the summer moon, right? That wept beneath the summer moon, that toads and teals and tiddlers, so ta 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 sound, right? So that indicates about alliteration. Toads, tills, and tiddlers, captured by her voice, cheered on and raptured. And rapture means they were filled with fascination and delight or happiness, and said that bravo, too divine, encore, right? So means that's something called as a praising to the nightingale, and pra- um, um, inciting, or you can say that encouraging the nightingale to sing more, right? By saying bravo, too divine, encore. Encore means to sing some more. So the nightingale wants more, right? It indicates that they are influencing the nightingale to sing some more. So this stanza indicate about a large water bird called the loon, who was alone, who felt also emotional on hearing the nightingale's melodious voice or melodious song, and it started, weeping, right? Weeping as the nightingale sang through the night. Yes, weeping. Weeping is called as a koin koin hiki kandiba, right? The nightingale sang through the night with the moon in the sky. And summer moon means what? It was the summer season when the moon is generally or comparatively lower in the sky. Even the tiny creatures, small creatures like the small frogs, dogs, and fishes, they were attracted to the whom? To the melodious voice, and they cheered. They cheered it to sing more. So they also encouraged the nightingale to sing more. They cheered the nightingale by saying that what? The nightingale was a brave bird, and her song was nothing but heavenly, and asked it to sing more, right? That is what find out in this particular stanza. So the next one, which is appointed here, quite unused to such applause, sang till done without a pause. Next night, when the nightingale shook her head and twisted her tail, closed an eye and flubbed a wing, and had cleared her throat to sing. So you would find out that quite unused to such applause. So the nightingale never received such kind of a appreciation, or such kind of a compliment, or such kind of a praise from these creatures or from others. And that is why she was so happy that she decided to sing continuously till sunrise. The next night, what happened? She again prepared to sing, and she shook its head and jerked her tail. So you can say that shook her head and twist her tail. So twist means called as a short or sudden jerk or movement her tail. So closed an eye to concentrate on her singing, right? And flapped its wing or fluffed her wing. But before she started the song, so she cleared her throat. So, right. So she wanted to make it clear, right? She was just surprised by a cloak. Sorry, was that you who spoke? She inquired when the frog hopped towards her from the bog. Yes, the frog replied. So here you would find out the nightingale was surprised. Surprised by what? Whom? Surprised by the sound. What was the sound? The harsh sound. So that is called as a croak sound. So therefore, the bird was interrupted by the croaking sound of the frog, and as she hoped towards the um, as the frog was moving towards the nightingale, so you can say that the nightingale asked the frog whether the frog who spoke. So the frog replied that it was his sound, right? So if you talk about that, the poet used the term croak many a time in the poem, and here also it has used as the onomatopoeia, right? I hope you understood so far. Did you understand all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that
That he's
so
a
after that
great
you can
singer.
yes, after that we can find out that did you like my song? Right. So it was the question that was asked, not too bad, but far too long. The technique was fine, of course, but it lacked a certain force, right?
Of
So
course. Yes.
here you would find out that how did the nightingale use the term like did you, which is nothing but a repetition. And you also find out that bad, but so Berber sound is repeated. So the humble bird, which is nothing but called as a humble or modest bird, the nightingale, asked the frog that whether he liked her song or not. The frog replied that it was not bad, but it was very long. Uh, Further, you also find out that it means the frog commented on means Nightingale's skill and said that the method of singing was fine, but her voice was lagged with the force. Right. So that is what you would find out. Did you like my song? Not too bad, but far too long. The technique was fine, of course, but it lacked a certain force. Then you talk about that the next stanza where the poet stated, "Oh, the nightingale confessed, greatly flattered and impressed, that a critic of such note had discussed her art and throat. I don't think the song's divine, but oh, well, at least it's mine." So this could be used with certain terms like flattered, confessed, impressed, and you would find out that what do we call to it? A divine. So these are the words are clearly indicating about what means to flatter somebody, to make somebody feel happy and pleased, right? And uh, you would find out that to make somebody judge, right? And so here, when the first line started, "Oh, the nightingale confessed, greatly flattered and impressed that a critic of such note." So here you would find out the nightingale felt bad that her singing was not up to the mark, right? So, like where you find out the nightingale confessed, so was not up to the mark. It was, or you can say that the nightingale was happy that such an expert, to whom he considered as the expert, that called as a, to whom she considered as the expert, here the frog was considered as the expert. So expert what? An expert musician. So and who had nothing but described or analyzed the nightingale's song and her voice. It was impressed by the frog's style, right? The bird, you can say that consoles herself that even if her song is not heavenly or divine, at least it is her own composition. So that is why she pointed, I don't think the song is divine, but oh, well, at least it is mine. So that is what the nightingales console, right? Then you talk about what that is not much that is not much to boast about, said the heartless frog. Without proper training, such as I and few others can supply, you will remain a mere beginner. But with me, you are a nothing but a what? You are nothing but what? You are nothing but a winner, right? So, if you talk about the this particular one, so where the frog um, can be called as a, that is not much to boast about. So, boast means what? To praise somebody. Yes, you want to ask something?
Sir, I was unable to hear you. Your voice was breaking.
That's what I'm asking. That what happened? Now you hear me or not?
Yes, yes, sir. Now I can hear you. But okay, sir, you can continue because you were not explaining, but you were just stating the conclusion. Yes, sir, you can
So,
continue.
in that case, if you talk about that is not much to boast about. Boast means called as a to praise about. Said the heartless frog. So here the poet used the term called as a heartless. Heartless means called as a cruel. Cruel frog without proper training, such as I and few others can supply. You will remain a mere beginner, but with me you will be a winner. So the frog scolds the bird, or you can say that he used the kind of a harsh language for being proud of. It is nothing but called as a harsh towards the bird and making the bird feel belittles, right? By saying that what the bird has not got the training, and only a few masters like the frog can give. The frog also at the same time boasting himself says that without the training, the bird will remain just a beginner. And all her life, if she wanted to become a winner, then she needed what? The frog support. Uh, and that then only she can become a perfect singer. Then it had to means learn from him. So he is influencing the bird nightingale to learn from him. So then after he said, the dearest frog, the nightingale said, dearest frog, the nightingale brayed, this is a fairy tale. You are a mojet in disguise, come to earth before my eyes. So when you talk about mojet, what do you mean by mojet? The meaning of mojet is called as a referring to an expert musician. And when you read this, you would find out that what means the nightingale here boasting or called as a praising. Praising whom? Praising the frog and compares, right? Compares it to the most famous musician named Mozart. It says that, or the frog says that this is like a fairy tale, right? A dream. Sorry, the nightingale says that this is like a fairy tale. Uh, the nightingale says that this is like a fairy tale. A dream comes true that such an accomplished singer or called as a successful singer is present before her, right? So that shows nothing but a kind of a means nightingale's praise to frog, and while praising the frog means nightingale compared frog with the Mozart, right? So then after it is stated, well, I charge a modest fee. Oh, but I won't hurt, you will see. Now the nightingale inspired, flushed with confidence and fired, with both art and adoration, sang, and it was a huge sensation. Now, if you see that, well, I charge a modest fee. So the frog tells that what if he teaches to the, or if he means trends to the nightingale, then the nightingale will give him something. So what is that? Now he pointed that he will teach her, but he will take some a small fee or amount from her, right? That is why. But it won't hurt, you will see. So even he assures nightingale that what the amount will be very small, and it can be paid, right? It will not be tough, It will not be tough for the bird. So the nightingale understands that, or influenced with the frog's confidence, and understands or called as a text inspiration from the frog's consent. It is full of talent and admiration for the frog. So with this newfound confidence, it sang well. The bird's music became famous, and you would find out that creatures from far off places were attracted to it. So in that case, means if you talk about that, well, I charge a modest fee. So this line is stated by the frog. Oh, but it won't hurt, you will see. This is again also said by the frog, that what? It won't take hurt, because the frog statement is called as it will take a minimal fee from the nightingale. So this seems like the frog was a greedy. This seems like what? Means the frog who was trying to humiliate. So the nightingale inspired and influenced with the confidence, and fired with both art and adoration. Um, so that is what you would find out. Means art and adoration is called as a getting the kind of a confidence, and sang and was a huge sensation. And then after she started singing, and that her singing become a sensation, or called as attracted to everyone. Animals for miles around flocked towards the magic sound, and the frog was great precision, counted heads and charged admission. Though next morning it was raining, he began our vocal training. So you would find out that uh, what does it say? Animals for miles around flocked towards the magic sound. Right. And the frog, with great precision, counted heads and charged admission. So this shows that what means because of the nightingale's song, right? Animal gathered from far off places, or animal came from the far off places to hear the magical sound or magical song of the nightingale. The frog organized the event, right? Like we generally know that people means organize the concerts, and they charge admission fee from means means all the people who come for the admission, right, and who come for the entertainment. So similar to that, the frog here also organizes means concerts and charges what do we say, that an admission fee, minimal admission fee from all the creatures who came to hear what who came to hear the birds song. Which birds? The nightingales sung. The next morning after the concert, what happened? The next morning after the concert, it was raining, right? So, and the bird did not want to even sing. But the problem was what? The frog insisted and even began her singing, or begin her training. So that is what you would find out in that. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I can't. But I can't sing in this weather. Come, my dear, well, we will sing together. Just put on your scarf and sash. Kuah, kuash, kuash. Now, you could find out the kind of word is used, kuash, kuash, and kuoa. So this is nothing but is the sound produced by the frog, uh, means and the nightingale. So therefore, this can be called as a onomatopoeia.
And
This production of
so
the
why are they
huh? Why are they?
sir, why are they producing such a sound when they are supposed to sing?
See, this is called as a fiction, right?
Yes, sir.
So in this fiction, so what happened? Now, despite the nightingales showing the disinterest, or means she refused to sing in the rainy weather. So the frog did what? The frog forces the nightingale to sing. So the frog asked her to cover her head with a scarf. We know that what is scarf, a long piece of cloth, right? So to save herself from the rain and to wear a sash, right? So given to her as she has joined his musical class. Both sing a song, and their singing start with a what? Kuoa, koash, koash. Now this is called as like when you start with when they were means let's say that you and your friend means joining in a music class. You talk for a little bit. After that, you start your singing. What do you start? You start with the sa re ga ma, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what is why do you sing that sa re ga ma?
Just for a start.
So what do they start?
Kua, kuash, kuash.
Very good. Now you understood?
Yes, sir.
So the frog and nightingale journeyed up and down the scale for 6 hours till she was shivering and her voice was hoarse and quivering. Right. So the frog and nightingale journeyed up and down the scale. So scale means called as a sequence of musical notes that go up and down, no, one after the another. And you know that the frog's voice is nothing but called as a hoarse, rough, and unclear, and the nightingale was shaking and trembling under the under the rainwater. So in that case, when it is stated that so the frog and nightingale journeyed up and down the scale, so it is trying to say that the frog and nightingale continued singing for 6 long hours. They sang different musical notes from high to low and vice versa. By the end of the class, the poor bird nightingale was shaking or shivering, and her voice became, you can say that, rough and shaky due to singing in an unpleasant weather, right? And for
Such a long,
and for such a and for a such a
long time. Means like, sir, she was singing in such a bad weather and for such a long time, for 6 hours. Continuously.
such a long time, yes. So those subdued and sleep deprived, in the light her throat revived, and the sumac tree was abode. Sumac tree was bowed with a breathless titled crowd. Out of a sandwich, duck of Kent, mallard and millard tent. So what are they?
Birds,
I pointed.
owl of
Hmm.
sandwich.
Though subdued and sleep deprived, in the night her throat revived, and the sumac tree was abode with a
Yes.
breathless titled crowd, owl of Sandwich, duck of Kent, mallard and melody trent. So what do you think that? So it is telling about what? Those subdued and sleep deprived, right? So the sumac tree on whose branch
Yes, sir.
on the sumac tree on whose branch the nightingale sat and sang in its melodious voice, right, was crowded by the animals or creatures. It seemed that you can say that it had bent as a mark of respect. Which one? The sumac tree was considered as the symbol of respect. To whom? To all these creatures who gathered, right, and came for the concert. So the royal creatures that had come were the owl. Royal creatures indicating what? They are something like a privileged and called as a rich, so or called as a famous, reputed. So these are nothing but known as a owl of Sandwich, the duck of Kent, mallard, and the melody of Trent. The poet had added what actually? The names of animals like owl, duck, mallard to the names of historical figures. Like you can say Earl of Sandwich, Duke of Kent, right? My Lord and My Lady of Trent, to show that a title crowd had gathered or famous means animals are gathered. Isn't it?
Uh,
Understood?
yes, sir.
Hmm. So Martin Cardinal Mephisto.
Yes, sir.
Martin Cardinal Mephisto and the Court of Monte Cristo. Right. So Martin Cardinal Mephisto and the Court of Monte Cristo. Ladies with a tiaras glittering in the interval sat twittering, and the frog observed. What did the frog observe? The frog observed, then glitter, with a joy both sweet and bitter. Now, if you see that, Martin Cardinal Mephisto, even the crowd included what? Martin Cardinal Mephisto and the Court of Monte Cristo. So, who they are? They are called as the royal ladies. All the royal ladies were wearing what? Now, that's something called as a wearing tiaras. Tiaras is what? Now, that's something called as a semicircular metal band that decorated with the jewels and worn by wealthy women in formal occasion. So, and these ladies were wearing with the tiaras and which were full of shining metal and precious stones. And you would find out that they talked, they twittered. They twittered means called as they talked. They talked with each other during the interval in the concert. The frogs saw the royal gathering which had come to hear the nightingale's song. He had mixed feeling. Who had mixed feeling? The frog had mixed feeling of what? Now, one side he felt happy that the concert he organized where all the royal people came or royal animals came. At the other side, you would find out also he felt jealousy of means the nightingale. He was happy as a huge crowd meant monetary gain. So he was getting benefit. He was collecting money. He was jealous of the Nightingale fame or reputation as her song had means her song is popular and his song had never got such an exceptional audience or called as a never appreciated. So every dog the frog every day the frog who had sold her every day, the frog who had sold her songs for silver tried to scold her. You must practice even longer till your voice, like mine, grows stronger. In the second song last night, you got nervous in mid-flight. So, mid-flight is called as the middle of the song. Now, if you see that, uh, the frog said that you must practice even longer till your voice, like mine, grows stronger. In the second song last night, you got nervous in mid-flight. So the greedy frog earned a lot of money from the royal people or from all those animals who came to there by selling tickets to the Nightingale's concert. Still, he was not satisfied with that. He, abused, scolded the poor bird and showed it down by saying that its voice, or called as her voice, was not strong enough, and that means the nightingale needed to practice more and more. So the frog also pointed out her mistake and said that what how she is supposed to sing. So what she did in the last night, right? So she also made a kind of a specific point by saying that in the second chunk she got nervous in the middle of the song. So that is why means you would find out it was the frog who made a such kind of a mischievous and greedy and not praising, but at the same time means abuse and scold to the means nightingale. So finally, if we look into that, and my dear, lay on more trails. Audiences enjoy such thrills. You must make your public happier. Give them something sharper and snappier. We must aim for better billings. You still owe me uh, 60 shillings. Now, if you see that, and my dear Leon Motrils, so the frog was like hovering. The frog is hovering on the nightingale. The frog started command command the nightingale to use attractive notes while she was singing in her song, so that the audience enjoys her notes. So that is why it is stated, and my dear Leon Motrils. Motrils means singing two some musical notes, one after the another, repeatedly and very quickly. Right. So Leon Motrils. Audiences enjoy such frills. So when you talk about audiences enjoy such frills, it is indicating that audience enjoys such kind of a fancy notes. Frills is fancy. You must make your public happier. So he also means forces Nightingale to uh, sing in such a way so that the audience enjoy, and he would collect more and more means audience, or you can say creatures, gather to hear her song, so that the frog do what the frog wants her to please the audience, and use sharp notes, sing snappy songs uh, which are liked by them. So he also wants the nightingale to aim at earning more and more money by her singing. So, and the frog also reminded the nightingale that she still means has to pay 60 shillings, right? Which is nothing but called as a training fee, must be paid to him for the musical training, isn't it? So, day by day, the nightingale grew more sorrowful and pale. Night on night, her tired song
Yes, sir.
jeeped and trilled and bounced along, till the birds and beasts grew tired at a voice so uninspired. So, day by day, the nightingale. So, if I talk about that, day by day, the nightingale grew more sorrowful and pale. So, this clearly makes the sense that grew with each and every day that are past, the nightingale became nothing but a sad and weak. Why she was sad and weak? No, that is what it is stated. Grew more sorrowful and pale. Night on night, her tired song jipped and sorrowful and pale. So when you say that she was singing quickly. She sang two times, two notes in a one occasion. So the bird songs reflected, very tired and no interest, uninteresting. And she sang also quickly and would not enjoy singing. So that's what the songs no longer melodious, and the creatures of the bog did not find out any charming out of that. So the bird's voice did not even attract crowds more any longer. So, and the ticket office and the ticket office gross crashed. She grew more morose. She grew more morose, for her ears were now addicted to applause quite unrestricted, and to sing into the night all alone gave no delight. Now, here you would find out the nightingale was feeling very sorry, right? So, and also feeling what? That's something called as a morose or miserable, right? Even sometime you would also find out means bad temper. So, why? What is the reason behind it? Now you would find out that because of her singing, which was changed, the and for that the conclusion is what? The conclusion is called as a creatures or audience did not like. So that is what it is pointed. The ticket office goes crashed, or sorry, gross crashed, and she grew more morose or miserable, for her ears were not now addicted to applaud quite unrestricted. So there was no audience um, for the Nightingale's concert. This made the bird sad as that what she was habituated with the kind of applause. She had got, means many praises from the audience or much praise from the audience. Now she no longer enjoyed singing alone all throughout the night. So now now the frog popped up with rage. Brainless bird, you are on the stage. Use your wits and follow fashion. Pop your lungs out with your passion. So now in this case, you would find out the frog is going out of the, limit. So as the frog's unstopped because no audience is coming. And that's the reason the frog got, aggressive and anger um, at the nightingale. Sure, he called the nightingale as the brainless bird, scolded it. So that is what it is saying. Now the frog popped up with rage. Popped up means that something called as a taking a very deep breath and showing his anger towards the nightingale and stating the nightingale as the brainless bird and scolded it. He said that what she should realize the importance of performing on a stage and should use her intelligence. She asked the bird. She asked the bird what? She asked the bird um, to sing according to the choice of the audience and to follow the means current trends.
Passion.
Yeah, current trends or follow the kind of a means the kind of um, means attractive ability or you can say that follow the ways that the current generation is focusing. So he forced the nightingale to take very deep breath and you can say that sing with lots of force and emotion. So, trembling, terrified to fail, blind with tears. So the nightingale heard him out in silence, tried, popped up, burst a vein, and died. Now, see that the nightingale was so, so influenced and so, you can say that, so hovered by that frog. So, even she carried away or you can say that she got into a kind of a fear of the frog, right? And she had failed to perform well because when somebody is on your head and all the time making you scolding you, abusing you, humiliating you, and means telling you not you are not doing good, negativity, so definitely it had a bad impact. So and the same thing happened to the nightingale. It cried, and as it, sorry, yeah, she cried, and as her eyes were full of tears, and she could not even see properly. She did not oppose the frog's words. She tried to take a deep breath, but could not bear it, could not tolerate it. So, and for which what happened? At the end, the nightingale died as one of the vein in its body that burst out or burst. The frog said, I tried to teach her, but she was a stupid creature, far too nervous, far too tense, far too prone to influence. Well, poor bird, she should have known that your song must be your own. Now, this one is called as a kind of a, criticism, which is true. Why? Now, because the frog comments on the dead nightingale bird, where the frog says that the nightingale was unintelligent. That it is true, and that the frog tried to teach her. Right? She was nervous. She became tense, and she lacked self confidence. Yeah, that is also true. So he further added that the poor bird should have sung her own song, right? sung her own song, SONG, in her own way. She should not have changed her style and get influenced uh, by the frog or by me. And this shows that the frog is a cheater, right? And he forced the bird into the wrong path due to jealousy. That is why means the at the last stanza where the from means a poet stated, that is why I sing with the panache. Panache means with a very confident and elegant style. That's why I sing with panache or very confident or elegant style. Koa ah, koash koash, and the foghorn of the frog bled unrivaled through the bow. Koa ah, koash koash. So the foghorn of the frog. Foghorn means called as in a very loud, unpleasant noise. So the frog bled unrivaled. Bled unrivaled means appeared like without having anyone to oppose through the bog where he stayed. So the frog ends by saying this, that he had confidence in his singing talent and he sang in his unique way. So and for that he used to with it what? Now once again the frog sang his song by using the term called as ko ho ah and koas koas. It is the one of the note of his. The frog song could be heard all over the bog or all over the Bengal bog. Why? Because he had no rival. He became the unopposed singer there, right? So with this note, means the idea clearly drawn from this particular uh, line or particular poem, that what means it is a kind of a satirical poem that explore themes of nothing but frogs displacement, displaying nothing but artificial nature, humiliating to the nightingale, and the importance of staying true to oneself. So all these things are nothing with, all these things are not present in the frog. In the poem, if you see that, a frog in Bengal bog creating a kind of a monopoly, or you can say monopolizes the nightingale, right? Or called as a monopolizes the night time with its loud and you can say that insistent or incessant. Incessant means continuous loud noise, croaking, much to the hatredness, much to the anger of all the creature. However, so means he could not even find out, he could not even tolerate the means nightingale, so that the nightingale who arrives there and enchants everyone with her melodious song or singing. So what did he find out? The frog finds out. The frog finds out nothing but kind of a jealousy. The frog finds out even an opportunity to exploit the nightingale's talent for his own gain or for his own profit. So if you see that initially the nightingale is, motivated by the frog's attention and, flattered by the frog's attention and agrees to the frog's offer of training and collaboration under the frog's guidance, means even she became a sensation. Other creatures also appreciated, drawing, attracting crowds from far and wide. However, means as the frog becomes increasingly demanding and critical of her performance, the nightingale's joy turns to sorrow. She struggles So she struggles to meet her expectation. So, sorry, meet the frog's expectation. And what happens? She begins to lose her passion for singing, her own quality. And despite the nightingale's efforts to please the bog, she ultimately causing to die to the pressure, and finally she died, leaving the frog to, means arrogantly declare his superiority. The poem ends with what? Ends with the frog continuously or continuing to croak loudly and oblivious to the tragedy he had caused. So, if you see that the throughout the characters of the frog, right, and the nightingale, so Vikram said critiques the commercialization of art and the exploitation of talent by those in power. So it is something like, you can say that a kind of a comment that Vikram Seth tries to point out. Even when everybody reads the kind of a poem, so they start making a kind of a critics that the commercialization or the business of art and the exploitation of talent by those who are in power. Now here the power is with the frog, and the nightingale became nothing but a syllable. The nightingale's tragic, uh, you can say that the nightingale's tragic fate means called as a luck, that serves as a cautionary story or careful story about the dangers of sacrificing one's authenticity and integrity, right? Authenticity, original, and integrity is called as a self-esteem for the sake of success. Am I clear?